Okay, today we're going to continue the review for the quiz to warm up and start our quiz very shortly. So we already did these problems yesterday. Actually, we got through 10, 11, 12, and then we stopped at 13, right? Okay, do you guys have 11 and 12? I'm going to make sure, back up for one just a second. I'm going to go look back at 11. The point of this one was, and I know I mentioned this yesterday, this is forming the z. So the first thing we did was set the 3x minus 7 equal to the 3x, or 5x minus 7 equal to 3x plus 17, because these are alternate interior angles. And if you have parallel lines, then the alternate interior angles are congruent. Now, once you're finished with that, and you find x, you can substitute in x of 12 into these, and then we figured out that if you plug that in, you get 53, and that would be here and here. Okay, so then next you say, well, because you're going to have problems like this on your quiz today, you go, all right, now I got to find y. So I have to either do this, which means these form a linear pair, or I look at the fact that these are consecutive interiors, which are supplementary. So that's why I did 4y plus 53 is 180. So when you solve this, get a pen that writes would be good. You get 4y plus 56 equals 180. You subtract 56, sorry, that looks really weird, and you get 124. Divide by 4, you should have had 31. Okay. Next, on 13, you would need, this is not actually one like this. There isn't one like this on the quiz, but we did do this in a homework assignment. We draw in an auxiliary line, which creates some angles we should know some properties about. These are consecutive interior supplementary, so I did 180 minus 138, which would be 42. And then these right here, little z, 39, 39, alternate interior angles. So the angle UVW would be 42 plus 39, and that's 81. So now we're going to the back. As use the figure at the right, you will have a problem where you have this picture and it's going to ask you to name the types of angles. So in this particular case, though, it says to replace the underlined word if you can to make a true sentence. So you're going to tell me true or false. We do have some like this on the quiz. Angle 4 and 6, are they corresponding? No, they're not corresponding. 1 and 6 are corresponding. 4 and 7 are corresponding. 4 and 6 are consecutive interior. So that's what you're going to write. You're going to write false, and then you're going to write consecutive interior angles. Okay? If R is parallel to T, then alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles 3 and 6 are congruent. Then you go look at 3 and 6. Are those alternate exterior? No, they are actually alternate interior. So just correct it. And that's how you do it. All right, now line P is a transversal since it intersects 2 or more lines in a plane at different points. Is line P a transversal to lines R and T? Yep, so this one's true. And of course, whatever's on the quiz, you'll have to determine whether it's true or false. Choose the correct term to complete the sentence. When a linear equation is written in the form y equals mx plus b, m is the... What does m stand for in the equation? The slope. Okay, not a point. And determine the slope of the line, and then we're going to write an equation of the line. So here we go. The formula for slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. There is a small poster of it on the wall. You have it in your ISN. You're going to need to know it by heart. It's also written on the board up there. Oh, no, that's midpoint and distance formula. I have someone in my first hour said she'd make a poster, but it hasn't happened yet. Anybody, if want to do it, they could. All right, so anyway, we're going to take the values x1 and y1 and the other x pair x2 and y2, and we're going to subtract the 2 minus the negative 4. y2 minus y1. Did I say something else? Sorry, I did. Whoopsie. This will change to addition after I'm going to go ahead and do the x's now. 1 minus negative 2. Okay, so I got 2. This changes to plus 4. And the bottom, it changes to add 2. So this would be 6 over 3, which is 2. Okay, I'm going to take either point. It doesn't matter which one. Does one look easier to use than the other? You don't have to use this one. You could use that. You see what I'm saying? You just need one point, and it doesn't have to be the x1, y1. It can be the x2, y2 if you want. Because here's what we have to fill in. You have to fill in that point slope formula that you have in your ISM. We're going to put in a point. I'm going to pick the second point, if you don't mind, because it's got positive numbers, all right? So I'm going to put in 2 for the y1. I'll put in my 2 for my slope that I found and put in 1 for x1. Okay, so then I distribute the 2, get 2x minus 2. And then I add 2 to both sides. So that's going to give me y equals 2x period because the 2's canceled out. Okay, next one. Start by finding your slope. Negative 2 minus 5 on top. 4 minus negative 3 on the bottom. 7 minus 5 is negative 7. 4 minus negative 3 is 7. And I divide and I get negative 1. Okay, so I got a slope of negative 1. I'll just take the first point, plug it in, so I get y minus 5 equals negative 1 times x plus 3. Uh-oh, where'd that plus 3 come from? Because I had to do minus a negative 3. Distribute the negative 1. Maybe I should have written that. I'll write it over again because I don't want to confuse anybody. This would be the x minus negative 3. Then I'll change that to add. And now I'll multiply through by negative 1. So it's going to be negative 1x minus 3. Now I'll add 5 to both sides. And my final answer is y equals negative 1x plus 2. And if you just write negative x, that's the same thing. Okay, let's see at the slope on this one. 2 minus 2. Uh-oh, the top. 5 minus negative 5. I get 0 over 10, which means my slope is 0. All right, so I'm going to plug in this point. Y minus 2 equals 0 times x minus negative 5. Okay, well, wait. 0 times anything is 0. So I actually have y minus 2 equals 0. And if I add 2, I get y equals 2. That is a horizontal line. Okay, you have just 2 equations to write of lines. These equations, your lines will be found by just looking at the graph. You will need 2 things. The y-intercept, which for line M is a negative 2, and the slope, which is down 1, right 4. Down 1 is negative 1, right 4 is positive 4. You're going to put it in y equals m times x plus b form. So this is just going to be y equals negative 1/4 x minus 2. And then this line, the b value is 1, 2, 3. And the slope, go from one point to the next. I go up 2, right 1, 2, 3, 4. So the slope for the second line is 2/4, which reduces to 1/2. And b is 3. So the equation is y equals 1/2 x plus 3. I know I make it look easy. Oh, not bad. Okay, so how you write the equation of a line. If you're given the graph, you find the y-intercept and the slope and you plug it in into this. If you're given 2 points, you got to do the slopes, find the slope, and then put in 1 point. And there's only one other question. If you have to write the equation of a graph and you're given the slope and a point, you plug in the point and the slope and simplify it. These questions are asking if we have parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Parallel lines have equal slope or same slope. Perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals. And neither, if it's neither of those, then it's neither. So, find the slope of the line through A and B. Take your y's and subtract them. 4 minus 7. Oh, my pen's stuck. So wait for it to relax. All right, there we go. Kind of weird. All right, and then 8 minus 1 on the bottom. 4 minus 7 is that's negative 3. And 8 minus 1 is 7. So negative 3/7 slope of line AB. We're going to subtract the y's and the x's on the other point. I don't know why I did that all different colors. 7 minus 10 is on top. 10 minus 3 is on bottom. That's negative 3/7. So these guys have the same slope, therefore they are parallel. They have the same slope. 24, subtract the y's, negative 5 minus 4. On the bottom, 2 minus negative 1. We end up with negative 9/3, which is negative 3. D to F, slope is 1 minus 4. 2 minus 3 on the bottom. That's negative 3/-1, and that's just positive 3. Now, they're opposite in signs, but they aren't reciprocals. Therefore, they're not parallel because it's not the same number, right? They're opposites. And it's not perpendicular because they are not reciprocals of one another. So therefore, we say neither, and that's because they're not equal slopes. They're not the same slope. And not negative reciprocals. All right, that concludes the review. Time to get going on our quiz. So pass in your quizzes, please. Your reviews, please.